Have you ever walked into a room and felt all eyes slowly turn toward you, even without saying a word? That's not luck. That's energy. That's your aura. Some people just carry a powerful presence that speaks louder than any voice. And the truth is, if your aura is strong, you're not like everyone else. In the world of Stoicism, power doesn't always come from what you show. It comes from what you control: your emotions, your focus, your values. When your inner world is steady, your outer presence becomes magnetic. People can sense when someone is deeply centered, and that's what sets you apart. This video will show you 5 clear signs that your aura is powerful. These signs are not about ego or showing off. They're about quiet strength, natural leadership, and being deeply aligned with your true self. If you relate to these, you're not ordinary, you're rare. So if you're ready to discover whether you carry that silent, stoic power, hit that like button, subscribe to Soulful Stoic, and let's dive in. Your energy matters more than you think. 1. You intimidate people without trying. Sometimes you walk into a room and people glance at you, then quickly look away. They go quiet. Their energy shifts. You didn't say anything. You didn't do anything. But still, something about you makes others feel cautious or nervous. That's not because you're unkind or harsh. It's because your presence is powerful. It speaks even when you don't. You may not realize it, but people can feel strength. And true strength doesn't need to be loud. In fact, the most powerful people are usually the calmest ones. If you carry yourself with quiet confidence, if your energy feels grounded and unshakable, it can be intimidating to those who haven't built that level of inner control. Some people mistake your stillness for coldness. They think you're distant or hard to approach. But that's not the case. You're simply not interested in playing social games. You observe more than you speak. You value truth over small talk. In a world full of noise, your silence feels intense. And to some, that's scary. People are often intimidated by what they don't understand. And when someone has deep self-awareness, emotional discipline, and doesn't react easily, it confuses others. Why aren't you chasing approval? Why aren't you laughing when everyone else is? Why do you seem so in control? Your calmness challenges the chaos in others. You don't wear masks to impress people. You don't pretend to be someone you're not. This honesty makes people either respect you deeply or feel uncomfortable around you. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your presence forces them to reflect on their own lack of inner strength or clarity. In a way, your aura holds a mirror to others, and when people aren't ready to face themselves, they feel the tension. That's why you might find that some people keep their distance, act defensive, or try to test you. It's not personal. It's their reaction to your energy, an energy they don't yet understand. But don't shrink yourself to make others feel safe. Don't soften your voice just to blend in. Your quiet strength is rare. It's something you've earned. Through pain, growth, discipline, and deep self-work. Never apologize for the peace you've built inside yourself. True power doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove anything. It simply is. And if people feel that in you, without you trying, then your aura is not just strong, it's unshakable. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you stoic. 2. You don't chase attention. In today's world, everyone seems to be shouting, posting, and constantly trying to be seen. But not you. You don't chase attention. And that's exactly what makes you stand out. You understand something powerful. Your value isn't measured by how many eyes are on you, but by how deeply you know yourself. You don't need to announce your every move, wear flashy things to be noticed, or prove your worth to strangers. You're content being in the background because you know that real power doesn't seek a spotlight. When you speak, it means something. And when you're silent, it speaks even louder. People who constantly crave attention are often searching for something outside to fill a void inside. But you've done the inner work. You've built a solid foundation within yourself. That kind of self-assurance is rare, and that's why people are naturally drawn to you, even when you're not trying. Your calm, composed energy is magnetic. While others try hard to be impressive, you simply are. You know when to speak and when to stay silent. You don't need validation to feel seen because you already see yourself clearly. That inner peace, that's the difference. You don't follow trends just to fit in. You don't bend your values just to be liked. Instead, you walk your own path. And though it's quieter, it's much stronger. People notice this even if they don't say it. They admire your independence, even if they don't fully understand it. The truth is, you don't chase attention because you've realized attention fades, but character lasts. You care more about being real than being popular, and that's why your presence feels solid. You're not performing for the world. You're just being authentically you. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and chasing others' approval isn't one of them. You don't let external noise distract you from your purpose. Your energy isn't scattered. It's focused, still, and full of depth. That's rare in a world addicted to applause. So the next time someone asks why you're so quiet, so private, or so unbothered, smile. Let them wonder. You're not here to be loud. You're here to be real. And that quiet confidence, that's what makes your aura unforgettable. 3. You stay grounded under pressure. Pressure reveals character. When things go wrong, when chaos hits, when people panic, that's when your true nature shines. And you don't break. You don't lose yourself. You stay grounded, calm, focused. While others react, you respond. That's not just a personality trait. That's a sign of true inner strength. Your ability to stay calm under pressure comes from within. It's the result of mental discipline, emotional control, and deep self-awareness. You faced storms before, and instead of running, you learned how to stand still in the middle of them. That's what Stoicism teaches. Don't be controlled by the outside world. Control what's inside you. While others let emotions take over, fear, anger, anxiety, you pause, you breathe, you assess, and then you act with clarity. This doesn't mean you don't feel stress or pain. It means you don't let those emotions rule your actions. You know that losing your mind in the moment won't help. So you choose stillness over chaos. This kind of grounded energy is rare, and people feel it. In crisis situations, others naturally look to you. Why? Because you're steady. You bring a sense of order in moments of confusion. You may not speak much, but your presence says, it's going to be okay. That kind of presence is powerful. You don't get easily provoked. You don't fall apart when plans change. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, how can I handle this wisely? That shift in mindset is what separates you from the crowd. It shows that you're not a slave to your emotions. You're the master of them. Pressure doesn't make you lose yourself. It helps you find yourself. You grow stronger, wiser, and more patient with each challenge. You understand that setbacks are not signs of failure. They're tests. And every time you stay calm, you pass those tests with quiet strength. Staying grounded doesn't mean pretending to be perfect. It means choosing stability over drama, patience over panic, and clarity over confusion. Even when your heart is racing or your world feels uncertain, you hold on to what you can control: your thoughts, your breath, your response. So remember this: the storm will always come, but when it does, you don't get swept away. You become the anchor. That's why your aura is powerful. That's why you're not like everyone else. You're not just surviving pressure, you're mastering it, like a true Stoic. 4. People seek your advice. You may have noticed that people often come to you when they're confused, overwhelmed, or stuck. They might say, "Can I ask you something?" Or, "What would you do in this situation?" They may not say it directly, but deep down, they see you as someone wise, calm, and trustworthy. That's no accident. That's a reflection of your aura. When people seek your advice, it's not just because you're smart. It's because your energy feels safe. You don't judge. You don't react. You listen. And in a world full of noise, just being present and fully listening is a rare gift. People can feel that you care, not for attention, but for truth. You've probably had moments where others come to you, not for answers, but just for clarity. That's because your presence has a calming effect. You don't add drama, you remove it. You help people see through their emotions and get to the root of their problem. That's a Stoic skill, one most people never develop. You give advice without ego. You don't force your opinions. You speak with clarity, not control. And when you speak, people listen. Why? Because you don't speak just to hear your own voice. You speak when it matters. That silence between your words gives your guidance real weight. Your advice often isn't loud or dramatic. It's simple, but powerful. You remind people to stay calm, to focus on what they can control, and to stop overreacting. And though it may sound basic to some, it's exactly what people need in the chaos of life. Over time, your calm thinking becomes something people depend on. You become their grounding force. And while you never ask for that role, people just feel you're different. You don't panic under pressure. You don't judge when things go wrong. You help people see clearly because you see clearly yourself. This doesn't mean you have all the answers. In fact, you often admit when you don't. But your honesty, your presence, and your perspective make others feel stronger. People leave your space feeling lighter. And that's a powerful gift, even if they can't explain why. So if people often seek your advice, understand this. It's not just your words they trust. It's your energy, your steadiness, your wisdom. That's the mark of someone who walks with quiet power. That's the sign of someone who lives by Stoic principles, even if they don't speak them out loud. 5. You're unapologetically yourself. In a world where so many people wear masks to fit in, standing in your truth is rare, but you do it effortlessly. You don't pretend to be someone you're not. You don't water yourself down to make others comfortable. You're unapologetically yourself, and that makes your aura powerful. You know who you are, and more importantly, you're at peace with it. You've accepted your strengths, your flaws, your quirks, and your past. You don't try to fit into boxes created by society. You don't follow trends just to belong. Instead, you walk your own path, even if it's different or misunderstood. Some people might call you stubborn. Others might say you're too different or too intense. But the truth is, they just don't understand someone who refuses to fake it. You're not here to impress. You're here to live honestly. And that makes people either respect you deeply or feel uncomfortable around your authenticity. When you speak from the heart. When you act with intention. You don't sugarcoat the truth, and you don't pretend to like things you don't. You've realized that being real may cost you approval, but it will never cost you yourself. And that's a price you're never willing to pay. This kind of self-respect is rare. Most people change themselves based on who they're around. But you stay consistent. Whether you're with friends, strangers, or alone, you don't shift to please. You've realized that being at peace with yourself is worth more than being accepted by everyone else. Stoicism teaches us to live in accordance with our nature, to stop worrying about others' opinions and focus on our own virtue. That's exactly what you do. You don't seek applause, and you don't fear criticism. You just are, and that authenticity makes your presence unforgettable. You may not always be the loudest voice in the room, but you're always the realest. People might not always understand you, but they can't deny your presence. You're not trying to be liked. You're trying to be true, and that's what makes your aura magnetic, because it comes from a place of real freedom. So never apologize for being yourself. Never shrink to fit into spaces that weren't built for your growth. Your honesty, your clarity, and your refusal to pretend are signs of deep inner strength, and that, more than anything, is what sets you apart from the crowd. That's the power of being unapologetically you. Conclusion. If you saw yourself in these 5 signs, know this. Your aura is rare, powerful, and deeply needed in this world. In a time where people constantly seek validation and chase approval, you stand out by just being real. That quiet strength, that calm energy, and that refusal to follow the crowd, that's not ordinary. That's extraordinary. You don't need to be loud to be heard. You don't need attention to be important. Your energy speaks for itself. You lead with truth. You carry wisdom in your silence. And you hold space for others without losing yourself. That's the kind of presence that shifts rooms and inspires change, even when you don't realize it. Being different can feel lonely sometimes, but don't let that make you doubt your path. You're not here to fit in. You're here to stand firm, to inspire, and to lead quietly by example. Keep walking with purpose, keep staying grounded, and most importantly, keep being unapologetically yourself. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Soulful Stoic. We're building a community of deep thinkers, quiet warriors, and powerful minds, just like you. Stay calm, stay strong, and remember, your energy is your superpower.